In ancient times, over in India, hunters needed to be incredibly quick, and to pull that off, they learned to master holding their breath. Well, that ancient survival practice eventually evolved into something completely wild. It became a game where you don't need a ball or bats or any expensive gear at all. You literally just need your body and your friends. It's essentially this rough, incredibly brave game of tag played out on a massive dirt rectangle. A line splits that big rectangle right down the middle. Your team owns one side, and the enemy owns the other. You send a lone person, the raider, stepping across that line deep into enemy territory. It's a lot like stepping into a neighbor's yard when you know their huge dog is off the leash. That brave explorer is totally on their own, and the other team just wants to trap them. Now, there's a massive catch to this whole setup. The raider has to tag someone, sure, but they absolutely must hold their breath the entire time they're on the enemy side. So how do you actually prove you aren't breathing? You chant. You say the word Kabbadi over and over, out loud, without stopping. Taking even a tiny breath means you lose your turn and you have to leave the game entirely. Waiting on the other side of that line are the defenders. There's a whole squad of them, and they're holding hands, moving together as this connected human wall. The raider has to dance around this wall, watching very closely, just looking for an opening to lightly slap someone. That little slap is the tag. The moment a defender gets tagged, the game changes instantly. The raider has to spin around and sprint back across the middle line to be safe and win a point. But the defenders don't just stand there. The second they're tagged, they attack. They grab the raider's arms, they grab their legs, and they tackle them incredibly hard right to the ground. Down in the dirt, it turns into a brutal, exhausting wrestling match. The raider is pinned tight, but they fight with absolutely all their strength to crawl forward. Because to escape, they just need to touch that middle line. Even a desperate fingertip touch on the earth counts. If they make that reach, they are safe, and every person grabbing them is completely out. But there's a sad reality here. Sometimes the defenders are just way too strong. They hold the raider down tight, making it physically impossible to move. Eventually, the raider gives up. They run out of breath, the chanting stops, and they're out. They have to walk off the field and go sit on the bench, giving the defenders a point and a chance to celebrate their teamwork. Being stuck on the bench watching your team is tough, but you don't stay there forever. There is a magic rule here. Every time your team scores a point, a teammate gets to come back from the bench and play again. It's beautiful, really. A team might lose almost everyone, but a good tag brings a friend back. No team is ever truly beaten quickly because the momentum just swings back and forth constantly. Wiping an entire enemy team out is a huge event called an all-out. The winning team gets bonus points and then, boom, everyone starts totally fresh again. It proves time and time again that speed and smarts easily beat giant muscles. A small raider can absolutely dodge a massive defender, and a clever defender can easily trip up an incredibly fast raider. Those defenders actually hold hands to create a chain, because a chain is always stronger than just an individual. They wait patiently, acting exactly like a Venus flytrap, just waiting to snap shut on a bug. If the raider can break that chain, they win easily. But if they can't, they end up trapped in a tight circle. Keep in mind, these halves are long and they are completely exhausting. Players are sweating, breathing so hard. The raider is in the middle, absolutely terrified to look away, even for a moment, because they know the second they blink, a defender is going to dive straight for their ankles while the others jump right on top. Now, there is a way to get a point without tagging anyone, but it takes serious guts. There's a special deep mark called the bonus line way back in enemy territory. A wildly brave raider can run deep into the zone and step over it with a foot hovering in the air. If they manage that jump while the defenders are desperately trying to catch them, it's a free point. Sometimes, though, a raider will just cross the middle line and immediately run back, doing absolutely nothing. That's an empty raid. But you can't play it safe forever. After multiple empty raids, the final desperate attempt is called a do or die raid. The raider absolutely must score or they are out. The drama is incredible. The defenders know exactly how desperate the raider is, and they wait with intense anticipation, ready to strike. What's truly fascinating is how these defenders coordinate that strike. A really good team communicates purely through eye contact. Without uttering a word, a simple nod passes between them, coordinating a massive, unified attack. It is an unspoken superpower on the court. For a long time, this was just played in small villages, barefoot in muddy fields by poor farmers. You got dirty, scraped your knees, and just loved the earth. But then they brought the game indoors, onto soft foam mats. It totally changed how the game felt, letting players dive farther and faster. It was like trading in a dusty old acoustic guitar for a massive electric stadium setup. With those foam mats came bright lights and television cameras. Massive crowds started watching. Barefoot village farmers suddenly turned into global league stars, wearing colorful jerseys with fans screaming their names. This simple dirt game transformed into a giant, rich spectacle, with players joining from all over the world. But don't let the bright lights fool you. Sure, now there are referees with whistles and red cards making sure things stay fair, and slow-motion video cameras to catch action that is way too fast for human eyes. But the core game, inside that stadium, it is exactly the same rough game of tag. You still have to chant that word just to prove your breath. And that fierce spirit is everywhere. Women have their own World Cups, and they tackle just as hard, proving to be incredibly fierce competitors. And kids play it in schools all over, because it is a perfectly fair sport. You don't need expensive gear, you need absolutely no money to start, just a flat piece of ground. It's a beautiful contrast of being alone versus being together. The raider feels entirely solitary, terrified, with an entire squad wanting to take them down, trusting only their own feet. But a defender is never alone. You always have a friend holding your hand, and if you fall, they are right there to help pull the enemy down with you. And through all of this chaos, there is that constant sound. The chant of Kabbadi is the literal pulse of the game. It keeps the time of the match. It proves that you are alive, that you are fighting, and that you are mastering your own breath. Controlling your breath makes you a master in this space. It teaches a really hard lesson too. Out there, you will get tackled. Heavy people will hold you down, and it will hurt, and it will feel absolutely impossible. But no matter what, you just have to keep reaching your hand forward. Because that middle line is pure hope. Even when you're buried under a massive pile of players, getting even a fingertip on that line changes absolutely everything. You never give up, and because good teams always bring their knocked-down friends back to the game, you always have a reason to keep pushing. Away from all the bright TV lights and slow-motion cameras, those original dirt fields are still there. Kids are still playing in the dust, getting scraped knees, keeping the totally raw, ancient hunter spirit completely alive. It really is just a battle of survival pretending to be a game. It makes you wonder how breath and teamwork are quite possibly the best weapons we actually have. If you dug this explainer, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more.